You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur
Podcast. To another
Podcast.
episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and I'm excited to introduce our guest today. They are a dynamic professional with over 20 years of experience working with global corporations, combining scientific knowledge with behavioral-based strategies to empower sales teams to excel. Our guest is also an accomplished sales strategist, leadership coach, and thought leader with over 15 years of experience in sales and sales leadership roles. With a passion for personal branding and breaking barriers to success, they have delivered winning sales strategies for B2B organizations known for expertise in sales coaching techniques and building sales-enabled cultures. Our guest empowers high-performing teams and resolves customer challenges through problem-centric training. With a focus on leadership development, equality, diversity, and inclusion in sales and strategic marketing, they offer valuable insight for achieving sustainable growth. As sought-after speaker and consultant, our guest excels in navigating complex sales procedures and delivering exceptional value to their clients. Please welcome our guest, Wesleyne Whittaker. Wesleyne, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited to chat with you because I read up on you. I was like, ooh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to have a great time. She's going to tell me everything I need to know to transform my sales goals and of course, the audience who are budding entrepreneurs. They may not be so good at sales, so I'm glad we have you, another sales expert, to help us here. But before we get into everything, I want to know from you, who are you, Wesleyne? Tell us.
Who am I? Okay. When I get that question, I can go so many different places. I would start with I am a single mom of 2 amazing boys, a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old. I am a recovering chemist. I started my career in the petrochemical world, and I moved into sales. And I tell people when I got into sales, I finally figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up because I loved everything about it. And because of my sales and my tenacity for sales, I made a really fast ascent to international sales manager. And from there, I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to focus and help organizations build these strong sales cultures with leaders that were thriving and people who were hitting their number each and every month.
I love that. I love how you're looking to help people, that helps the businesses, so everybody wins. So you went from, like you said, you're a recovering chemist, so you smart. You're super smart.
I guess you could say that. Yeah. Take that. I'll take it.
Yeah, you should take that because that's true. Because chemistry is not that easy. So someone says they're a recovering chemist, either they never finish, but seeing as how you worked in the petrochemical world. And you did fairly well for yourself, as you said. Um, why did you want to become an entrepreneur? Like, where was that moment that was like, oh, this is the thing I want. I want to be an entrepreneur.
I was at a place in my career where the last organization I was with, it just wasn't a challenge anymore. Once I got in there, it was hard to get the team together, get them all marching on the same accord, getting everybody hitting their numbers. And then once they were fixed, I was bored. And I was like, yeah, maybe I need a new job. So I started looking for a new job, but I'm like, it just seems more boring to me. So I decided, I was like, well, let me try to do this. And so I stepped out on my own. And, my entrepreneurial story, I tell people I worked full time as a corporate employee and had my business for 9 months before I decided to step out on my own, because I wanted to see, can I do this? A lot of times we think like, yeah, it's glitzy, it's nice working for yourself, but it's not. It's hard. And I needed to set metrics for myself. I needed to bet on myself. I needed to make sure I had, I'm a single mom, I had health insurance for my family. Like, I needed to make sure I had those things before I decided like I can do this on my own.
I like that. I like how you like most people kept the 9 to 5 because 9 to 5 pays the bills.
Yeah.
And then you saw in that 6 to 9 month area, like, okay, this is possible. What were the first like 2 to 3 months like? Like, how did you find your thing, your niche, your je ne sais quoi, your unique ability?
So I knew what I was good at. That's one thing that I can say. I have always known where my strengths lie, and I know where my strengths don't lie. And so I knew I was really good at motivating teams, at helping businesses increase their revenue, figuring out who their ideal client is, targeting the market, being really creative in sales. And so I decided that's what I was going to do. When I started my business, I actually started it and I was working as an outsourced sales manager. So I would go into small businesses and I would work within their company for a day to a day and a half each. And I was the outsourced sales manager. And so that's literally how I started. But when I started my business, I actually formed it in November of a year, and I gave myself a deadline. I said, by the end of the year, I want to have 1 paying client. And by the end of the year, I had 2 paying clients. Then I was like, okay, so in 6 months, I want to be able to replace my full-time income with income in the business. And I did that in 4 months. So I gave myself very hard metrics. And I was like, and if this doesn't happen, I'm going to say this business was fun, but this isn't for me. I need to go look for another job. Right. And so I had a goal. And since I knew I was striving, I was working, I was moving towards a goal, everything started falling in place. And so when I finished my day job and I'm like, okay, now I'm doing my 5 to 9 job, I knew what I was working towards.
Worst time to take a sip, just as the guest finishes speaking. Got to get better at that. You think I would learn, but I like that. I like how you set up those metrics and put not just harsh deadlines on it, but realistic deadlines, because you knew you could meet them because you've met probably harder ones in your life, in your journey, in your corporate life. When you sat down, did you write down a whole business plan, the whole stuff, or did you were like, we're going to see, we're going to throw stuff out the wall and see what sticks?
I didn't have what people consider a comprehensive business plan of this is my 5-year goal, this is my 24-month goal. But one thing, being a person who was an individual contributor in sales, becoming a sales manager, we always had to write down at least annual goals. We had to know what we're going to do within our territory, what I was going to do across the world. Like, how are we going to sell our product across the world? So I had the sales strategy pieces very, very hardcore laid out, because I was like, these are the things that I know I need to do. These are the products that I offer. This is the pricing that I have. There were other parts that I was unsure of, that I just didn't really know well. And so it's kind of like, let me throw this at the wall and see if this sticks. No, that didn't work. Let's try something else, right? But I had one key part of that business plan. I knew how to sell. Like I tell everybody, I know how to sell and I know how to market. 2 things I can do very well.
Hey, if you can market and you can sell, you can pretty much do anything in life. Something that I've learned from speaking with so many entrepreneurs. I want to know, is there a memory that you have from your journey so far, from just before you left your 9 to 5 to now, that keeps you warm at night? You know, when you're having those dark days that like everything seems to be going wrong and you're like, really, like, should I just let someone else just take control so I can just go back to just being automated? You know, some of those deep, dark days that we have as entrepreneurs, is there a memory that you have that just keeps the fire lit and keeps you going?
I don't know if there is I would say it's a collection of memories. Because, you're a podcaster. I'm a podcaster too. I have 2 podcasts. And even as early as yesterday, I was like, yeah, I think I just want to stop this one podcast. I just don't want to do it anymore. It's just a lot of work. And I'm not sure if this is what I want to do anymore. And then out of nowhere, I get a random text message from somebody I don't talk to that often. And they're like, your podcast today almost brought me to tears. It was so good. It was this, and that. And I was like, thank you. I needed that because I was actually thinking about, taking a break. And the person said, like, literally, because one of the podcasts I have is called Daily Love Letters from God. It's like a 2 to 3 minute little snippet of me just, sharing something. And the person was like, this is the only meditation that I get all day. Sometimes I listen to one of these all day long, and it's the only thing that has gotten me through this horrible year of my life. I get messages like that on that. I get messages like that from sales leaders who have told me I've been the most influential person in their life. Like me, the most influential person in your life. So when I get messages from people that I've worked with, lives that I've impacted, I know that I'm doing this very important work. I am helping people in some parts really face their demons, because a lot of times when you're not selling, you're not leading the way that you need to, it's because of some kind of trauma or something that's happened to you in life. And so we have those conversations, we get deep, and then we get tactical. I'm like, now we fixed what's going on underneath the surface. So now let's get out there and sell. Let's get out there and lead. And so I would say those collection of memories are what keep me going.
Oh, I love that. I love when you get a random message from a listener of your podcast that says, hey, this episode XYZ helped me. And it's just like, and for you with those daily letters, love letters or letters from God, that's even better because it's like, that's a more impactful because it's on that spiritual level and you're connecting with someone on a spiritual level. I'm jealous of you. I'm just saying, just super jealous of you for that. But I know I get stuff that you probably will be like, I'm jealous of you getting that. So we're going to move on. What is the other podcast you have? Because I'm always interested to talk with fellow podcasters.
It's called Transform Sales. And so on it, I interview sales leaders, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and I really want to know, like, what was it like going from, being an individual contributor or an engineer to being a sales manager? What are the struggles that you're having? And so we have really great conversations around all kind of topics and all kind of things.
I love it. I'm going to definitely go ahead and add it to my playlist so I can learn some more, because I'm going to have to eventually lead a sales team if I want to scale to the next level.
Yeah.
Is there something that you would love to change in the sales world?
Ooh. I would say the stigma of sales.
Okay.
So people have this really bad perception of sales, and they think that it is sleazy and it is hard and no one can do it. They can't do it. Like it's just a lot of things. And so as an entrepreneur, you know how to make your product, you know how to deliver your service, but it's really hard to sell and market it because you're so focused on yourself and you're not really focused on the customer. And so what happens is people are so very self-centered in sales that they so often make it come off very pushy and very sleazy and very slimy. But if we could change that stigma and we can realize, I tell people as a salesperson, you're just like a doctor. Your job is to diagnose a problem. What is the problem that my prospect is having? And if you go in and you ask questions, just like a doctor asks questions, then you recommend the one thing, not vomit everything you can do on them, then the whole profession would be better because you would be helping people diagnose their problems and giving them solutions that they need.
Good ending episode right there. Boom, that's it. Boom, that's a full episode right there. You want to learn how to sell figure out, become a doctor. That's why we need people from different careers jumping in, because they're bringing that different logic into the world. That's why we need, recovering chemists in the world of sales, because they can look at something. Um, was it difficult going from like being a chemist to sales, or was that just like you just naturally took at it?
So I had no clue what I was doing. So my very first sales job, because I got the job and they said, "Oh, we're having an international sales meeting. You're going to Germany for 2 weeks." I said, "Okay, great." So they sent me to Germany for 2 weeks, and I learned all about the products. And they had all of these technical meetings, and then so I'm in my job for a month, and they're like, "Now go sell." I'm like, "What are you even talking about? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I know what the product does, but I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know what to do." So I did the only thing I really knew how to do was ask questions. As a chemist, that's what we do. We ask questions. And so I got my list of customers and I scheduled meetings. I said, "Hey, can I come talk to you? I want to learn how you use your instrument," because I sold capital equipment. And so I literally would go sit down and I would talk to them and they would tell me what they did. And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." And so once I figured out what they did, I'm like, "I need 10 people like you." So I'll go find 10 people like them. And I'm like, "Hey, so what are you doing to solve this problem?" Literally, I use what I knew as a chemist and turned it into selling. And it really worked because I became really good at it. I became really good at it. Like, even in that first year, I took a territory that was, they actually really set me up for failure, because the territory they put me in produced $50,000 the year before. 50,000. And within 12 months, I took it to $500,000.
Let's go.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just out there asking questions, telling people, "Can I play with your, let me show you this." And then I knew how to use the instruments, right? Because I was in the lab. So then I would take the instruments and I would show them. I'm like, "These are the ways that you can use it." And they're like, "That's cool." So yeah, it was not easy, but I used what I had. And that is the key that people need to know. Use what you know. Don't try to become somebody that you're not. Use what you have.
I love it. It's another piece of great advice. Is use what you know, and people will just. And plus, you're going into labs or places where other fellow scientists, they don't expect you to be a scientist, not knowing how to use all these things, and you're coming up, and then they're like, "Wait, this is a salesperson. What's going on?" And then they trust you. Oh my God, you get instant trust.
And the thing is, it's like people love talking about themselves. Like, it doesn't matter what you sell. If you go and you ask your customers, your prospective customers, "Teach me what you do," they will talk to you for hours about what they do and why they're so amazing. And that literally, it gives you so much information on the reason, what you need to be doing, how you need to be selling, right? And so that's the key. It's like, let people talk. Just let them talk.
You learn that very quickly as a podcaster at 12, shutting up. Because when you do that, all the guests just word vomit out. I want to know, if you could jump 5 years in the future, where is Wesleyne? Where are you? What are we doing?
Well, 5 years in the future, I would love to be sitting on a beach sipping a margarita. That's probably what
You and me too. Me and you both. Margaritas on the beach. I love it.
And I say that to say my goal, and for the past, I would say 2 to 3 years of my business, I tell everybody on my team, I tell everybody I encounter, my goal is to show up and be excellent. So what does that mean for Wesleyne? Wesleyne showing up and being excellent is doing things like this. I am at my best when I am on a stage. I am in front of people. I can do training. I can just show up. And so building a team around me of people consultants and trainers and salespeople who can handle the business. And I can say, "I'm going to speak here, and now I'm going to go to Napa Valley. And then I'm going to go train here. And then I'm going to go to Costa Rica." Like, honestly, that would be my ideal. My oldest son will be out of school. I will have one child at home. That would be where Wesleyne want to be in 5 years.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Work a month, off a month. Work a month, off a month. I like that. I like that, Wesleyne. It's what everybody should be striving for.
And the thing is, as an entrepreneur, what happens is the work-life balance is like non-existent. right? And so what I've learned is I've learned how to balance my time so that I can pay my bills, I make a comfortable living, I do whatever I need to do. If I want, I take, I think we've taken like 5 or 6 vacations this year. So I live a comfortable life, but I don't work like a crazy person. My hours are like 10 to 3. And that is it. Like, I don't take any meetings before 10. And after 3, when I pick my kids up, that I'm done. And it's because I know how to value my services. So I don't undervalue myself. So I'm not doing a lot of work for a little bit of money. So if somebody wants to work with me, they have to invest in that, right? And I'm not out here like going after crumbs, and I'm not after like just grabbing the scraps. And as entrepreneurs, that's really important. Value your services, right? Don't overwork yourself. Take breaks. Your mental health is important, and build a team around you that can support you even when you're not there.
Listen, I was going to ask for some wisdom from you, but you seem to be just doling it out without me even asking. So I'm loving this. But what one single piece of advice do you have for my entrepreneurs in waiting, if we will, or waiting to jump to start that journey?
When you start your journey, it's really important to have some mile markers. And I mentioned how important that was before. I see a lot of people like, I've had this business for 5 years and I'm not making more than, $12,000 a year. And so I asked them, well, what have you done? They're like, well, I kind of do this and I kind of do that. And I'm like, you're kind of making money. That's what's happening, right? Like if you don't have a mile marker, a roadmap, if you don't understand what you're striving towards, then you'll keep spinning your wheels. So really say, I want to sell this much product. I want to make this much money. I want to invest this much time by this point. And this is the result that should come from this. If I put 40 hours of work into building a product, I should get $1,000 in return, whatever that is. Like, understand those important things, because if you don't hit the mile marker, that means you go back one step, figure out what you need to do again, and then you keep going. So in 12 months, in 24 months, you can be like, I now feel like I can leave my full-time job and I can do this. Because it's okay to have a side hustle forever if that's your goal. But if your goal is to work full-time in your business, give yourself a roadmap and mile marker.
I love it. It's great advice. What is a book that you would suggest to entrepreneurs to read? Like, they could be anywhere in their journey, long times, new time, or just going through it. A book that you would suggest that would help them take their journey to the next level.
I'm an avid reader, so I'm working a lot because I'm reading like 4 or 5 books at a time. Okay, but as you asked that, the one that came to my mind first is Your Next 5 Moves by, I never remember his name. He has like 3 names. You know his name, David Patrick David or something like that.
We'll put it in the show notes down below.
Okay, awesome. Yes, Your Next 5 Moves. And so that book, it's about thinking strategically. And he talks about his very hard start to his entrepreneurship journey. And like, he's like, these are the things I did. I did not win the first time. I failed in business. I lost a whole lot of money, but I never just thought about where I am today. Right? I always thought about what the next 5 moves. And when you think about those next 5 moves, it's like, I'm here today, and then I want to get to this place, and then I want to get here, here, here. And the next 5 moves could be 5 years. It could be 5 months. It could be 5 weeks. It doesn't matter. But again, that roadmap, and I think that's probably why I like the book. And he talks about an entrepreneurship journey from a very realistic view. This is not a get rich quick. This is not just run a whole bunch of ads and you're going to sell some courses. This is how you really have to build a business.
I love that. And I just looked it up because I want to add it to the list of books. It's Patrick at David. So you were right. You got some of the names, just not all the names. That's what's important. Just wrong order, which is fine. We all do that at some point. I want to know, because I'm building a nice little book for my nephew, because he's 5 years old, and I want to give it to him when he's 10, and it's a whole bunch of advice from entrepreneurs. However, I'm not going to ask you what advice would you give to my 10-year-old nephew. I want to know, what advice would you give 10-year-old Wesleyne? I have her standing right here. She's a spitfire, ready to go. What advice are you giving her?
Woo, 10-year-old Wesleyne. I talk to her a lot. Um, the advice that I would give her is to trust her voice. For a long time, I've always had a strong voice. I've always been very opinionated. And early in my career, I would quiet my voice. I would not speak up for myself. I would not share openly. I was not okay with conflict. And so because of that, I didn't take enough calculated risk, I would say early in life. Once I started getting into sales, I tell people a sales career really changes the trajectory of your life because I realized that my loud voice made money. I realized that my opinions help close deals, but I didn't realize that when I was 10 or when I was 15 or even when I was 21. And so that's what I would tell 10-year-old Wesleyne. Don't quiet your voice. Keep speaking up for yourself. Keep rubbing the status quo. People not going to like you. It's okay. They don't have to like you as long as they pay you.
Oh, I like that. I like that. That's a great line.
But make sure they pay you.
Oh, I think that should be the tagline of this episode. Wesleyne, I'm going to jump off stage here. I want to let you have the chance to talk to my audience, let them know where they can connect with you, how they can work with you if they're looking to work with you, or at least support you in any way possible. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. I am big on LinkedIn. I post content on there every single day, and the best way to get in contact with me is on LinkedIn. So send me a message on there and say you heard me on the podcast and you want to grab some time on my calendar. And on my LinkedIn profile, there are a lot of resources. I have questions you need to ask in discovery meetings, how you can set yourself up as a better leader. And there's also a link to my calendar. I have an open calendar link because if you want to talk to me, if you want to pick my brain, if you want to work with me, it is right there. It's ungated, easy access for you to tap into. So on LinkedIn, I'm just Wesleyne.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Wesleyne, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and sharing your journey and some great wisdom with my audience.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure.
To my audience, you know what to do. Down in the links in the show notes, you'll find everything to connect with Wesleyne, and I suggest you go ahead and do it and get a couple of those freebies to take your sales to the next level so you can hire her to take your sales to the moon. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, remember to always invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.